it is worth every penny because again, compare this to a Demco Custom Compact, and if I had to ask you which is the more interesting of the two, I think people are gonna pick the Strider. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brian and I am here today with a knife that I am incredibly excited to unbox. If you saw my last Strider video where I opened this SMF DLC, this is a very classic knife, but I had two inbound from Strider and I didn't know which was which. And I honestly, when I opened this knife, was really hoping it was going to be this one. So I made a video about this knife, and then this one came in the next day, and here we are. Now I know for sure what's in this box, and I could not be more excited to check this one out, and there is a reason why. And the more I've thought about this, the more I think I'm able to explain it, because a lot of people wonder why Strider has such a cult following. And this one right here I think is a great example. I made a video of this. This is an SNG heat colored Tanto. This came in at a $725 price point. And if you look at this knife, it has kind of treatment of what I'd call a custom light. So a lot of other knife brands will make customs, and the customs will come with hand ground blades like this Demco 8020 compact here. But this had a table price of $2,000. And yes, you are getting a hand ground blade, and that is kind of the highlight, but it takes a custom to really get kind of special treatment where you've got a bronze anodization and blue anodized hardware. In other words, you need to pay a lot more money to get these kind of cool effects that Strider does at their normal production price point. And that's part of what I think makes Strider so cool. This being the Icy Hot Stuntas channel, it's right up my alley of interesting things that I like. So, with that being said, we have something very much in that vein in this box. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. What do we have? This is a SMF Tanto with a heat colored treatment and a Ghost Tanto blade. And it is all of the things that I really liked in the SNG that I've got. Again, this is probably my favorite Strider to date, this one right here. Supersized. And so there is a lot to love about what is going on. These are kind of brothers from another mother, brothers from the same mother. I mean, big brother, little brother, whatever you want to call it. They are very much in the same vein, so I figured if I really liked this one, there was a very strong chance that I was going to like this one as well. Initial impression, you know, when I first saw this blade, I wasn't sure about the gold or the bronze color. I mean, it's a lot to take in. It came out absolutely fantastic. I thought that I would like a silver blade more, and now I've got an example of a silver blade, and I do think it looks pretty epic. Focusing on the blade, it is a Tanto, it is a hand ground Tanto. It's got a hollow grind, which means it's concave through here. Incredibly thick 0.180 inch blade thickness, and a Tanto point for piercing. Tantos aren't necessarily my favorite blade shape because I tend to really just open boxes and kids' toys and whatnot. I don't have a lot of need for piercing, but when it comes to these Striders, I honestly just collect them because I love them. I've got other knives to abuse. I think a good example would be, you know, if you were going to use one on the regular, you'd probably just use the DLC from the other drop that I caught. And this one will probably just be for admiring, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Looking at the difference with the heat coloring, the one thing I will say that I am noting, and I don't know that I would have caught this or even appreciated it before. I mean, I love this, and if I would have just opened this straight, I think I would have just loved it and been amazed. I do think I like the little difference between the SNG and this one, where if you look at the scales, you'll see kind of silver shining through the heat coloring. So it's almost like they heat colored it and then they took some machining or buffing to the surface so that you've got this kind of contrast of silver and blue hues, and it makes it just look really, really nice. It's a really nice touch to have done that. If you look at this one here, it's a very consistent color throughout. They did not kind of take that surface off, and so you don't see the contrast as much between the top, I guess, of the divots and the bottom. But that being said, this is still absolutely epic. And from a size comparison perspective, it's much more hardy and burly and chunky, and for sure the SMF is my favorite in terms of how it fits in the hand and feels in the hand. This one, just like all the other Striders that I've got that have full titanium scales, absolutely fantastic. Let's get into some of the quality control questions. Haven't tried to disengage this frame lock yet, so let's see. Pretty good, pretty good. Centering is very nice. Lockup, very nice. So I think the quality control on a lot of the Striders that have been coming from the factory lately has been pretty on point. Haven't really had much of anything to complain about. Let's get into just some of the knife stats, so to speak. We've got a length at 9 inches, a blade cutting edge at right around 3, a blade length at right around 4, typical SMF configuration and size right there. Weight comes in at 6.3 ounces, which is definitely a little bit heavier than the SNG equivalent. The SNG equivalent is 4.6. So about another 1.6 ounces. Pretty significant in terms of if you wanted to actually carry this on the regular. How's it compared to the DLC version? I would expect the same weight, 6.3, so right in the ballpark of being the same. How's it compared to my custom Demco? 7.1 there. All right, what else is there to say about this? I don't know that there's much. I make a lot of Strider videos because I love all of the different configurations that I pick up. That's a tough decision. If you had to pick one or the other, SMF with the silver Tanto Ghost Stripe, or SNG with the gold bronze Tanto with the Ghost Stripe, what are you picking? It is hard, it is hard. I still think this one is my favorite, because I like that little extra touch and I like the kind of very interesting color on the blade. This has to be my second at this point. This is definitely my second favorite Strider at this point, and it is basically right in the running with the SNG as being my top. It is a MagnaCut blade. It does have the Strider logo laser engraved, and being titanium scales, it is open with standoffs as opposed to a backspacer. Pretty amazing stuff. So I guess just to reiterate my point, this came in at, I think an $875 price point, being the larger model. So $875 versus $725. And for all intents and purposes, it is worth every penny, because again, compare this to a Demco custom compact, and if I had to ask you which is the more interesting of the two, I think people are gonna pick the Strider. That doesn't mean it's the better knife. You know, it does not, well, it does. This is a hand ground, hollow ground blade. This is actually a hand ground blade, but I don't believe it's, you know, to the same level of precision or craftsmanship. This is not considered a custom knife. It is considered a production knife. But if there's a single message I could get across as to why people love Striders, it is that you are getting custom style work and looks for a production price point. And that is just a really fun thing. So I think that's all I've got for this one. Let me know what you think about this knife in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you at the next one soon.